Oh boy, some Nintendo fans are upset right now, but I'm here to quell your fears and tell you why this latest information on next week's alleged Nintendo Direct is actually a good thing. And I know what you're saying to yourself, RGT. Weren't you saying that people need to be more critical of who they talk about when it comes to Nintendo Direct information? Yes, I did, and I still stand by that 100%. But when I trust the source, when it's coming from someone I know and that I think has a good track record, I, of course, am going to talk about it. Now, there was no Nintendo Direct this week, and of course, many people have been hyping up this upcoming Nintendo Direct that is happening allegedly next week. I'm thinking around the 15th, if I had to take a shot in the dark at the date of it. Some people have been hyping this up as something that's going to be massive, one of the biggest Nintendo Directs ever, a huge blowout of epic proportions, and it seems like that's not going to be the case at all. We have a little more information on this direct, and like I said, I'm going to tell you guys why this is actually a good thing as the video goes along. So what's the caveat? What's the problem? Nintendo Direct, that should be a good thing off the jump, right? Well, according to Nate the Hate, yes, good old Nathaniel of the Game and Talk podcast, he is under the impression that this is going to be a partner showcase. And in case you are unfamiliar with what a partner showcase is, or maybe you just forgot, a partner showcase is essentially when other companies, usually third party companies and smaller indie companies, come together and do a presentation about their games coming up on the Nintendo Switch. So basically, don't expect any first party Nintendo Switch games to be at this event. And for a lot of people, that's a very underwhelming thing because there's still questions about titles that we know about. Super Princess Peach, whatever the game's name is, I always forget it. Obviously, we got to see a little bit more from that. Luigi's Mansion 2, Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. But the thing about all those games is they're pretty self explanatory outside of Super Princess Peach, and we've actually seen a decent amount of that game. If for whatever reason this is a partner showcase and these games are not at this event, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think these games can be explained in simple trailer drops. You know, you do an extended look at Princess Peach, you show what's different in Luigi's Mansion 2, and then of course Paper Mario. Like, I feel like people know about those games to a good enough extent to where there's not a whole lot of mystery. You really just have to sell the game to the people who are maybe on the fence about it to show them why and how it's been upgraded over its predecessor. But I like partner showcases, and I haven't liked them all of equal value or something like that because I think there's been a couple stinkers in that. But I think back to times when like Monster Hunter Rise was announced. That game was announced at a partner showcase, and that game obviously blew people's minds. It's still one of the most graphically impressive games on the Nintendo Switch using that RE engine, and it was a real testament to what Capcom was able to do with the Switch hardware, just how good that game looked and ran and played. It was a great game. I absolutely adore that game. One of my most played games on the Nintendo Switch. But we're also nearing the end of a system's life cycle. At least that's what we're all anticipating. So, what third party games could we see at this that developers have been potentially cooking that we don't already know about? Now, sometimes you do see ports of things and you see games, with smaller budgets released at the tail end of the life cycle. But I feel like if there wasn't at least something substantial in this presentation, there would really be no reason for Nintendo to do this presentation. As far as I know, how Nintendo Directs work is you get reached out to by Nintendo a few months before they're planning a presentation, and they see if you have anything that you're working on that they would like to showcase. And if they accept whatever game it is, they actually don't tell you what kind of presentation you're going to be in. It could be an indie direct, it could be a partner presentation, it could be a Nintendo Direct Mini, or it could be a full-on Nintendo Direct. Now, the difference between a Nintendo Direct Mini and a partner showcase is Nintendo still has a first-party presence at a mini event. They're going to show you some of their games, whereas a partner presentation, all they're showing you are third-party games. Now, if that is indeed the case, what should we kind of expect to be there games-wise? Well, if you remember, of the Game and Talk network over on, or Game and Talk in the Spawncast network, because John doesn't pay us anything. Did you know that? The man doesn't pay us a dime to be on his godforsaken show where he draws out topics to ungodly length. So when you support that, you're supporting all of the rest of the people involved. But we did a Patreon Q&A on Wednesday night, and Nate actually talked about, well, he teased a game that he expects to be at this event, and it's actually a pretty interesting game. The game itself doesn't interest me all that much personally, but I think the implications of this game being there could be something big, especially considering the company that is the first party company that owns this title. Beyond that, though, I think there's a level of mystery, and mystery is good. Mystery is fun. You know, sometimes the mystery is worth it. Sometimes it's not really worth it. But to me, a February partner showcase is that important because it means that Nintendo themselves are moving on. They're moving on from the Switch, even though they tell investors, yes, this, that, and the other. It's all just in the schematics of how they say things. You have to look, like we took a look at what they said about, 2024, and the Switch is going to be the main focus, but that's going into 2024. That's not necessary. That's talking about the calendar year, not the upcoming 2024. So to me, I think this leads a lot more to that upcoming alleged presentation happening in March. I'm still on the fence about that. I know Nate says that it's pretty much, a done deal at this point in time, at least from his perspective and based on things he's heard. But I don't know, man. I just have a lot of questions about it because it's like, well, what is that presentation going to be? Is it going to be a tweet saying, hey, we're working on the next generation, check us out in a couple months? Or is it going to be like a first look, like a first reveal of something like that? But I think a partner presentation is a very good thing because of the mystery, because you have those third-party games like that Goemon game that's not a Goemon game, but it's made by the Goemon people, which, yes, that will be in my Crystal Ball predictions video because that game needs to come stateside. It looks absolutely amazing, but there's just so much Japanese text in it. And, maybe you get some surprises there. Maybe games from other companies such as Xbox. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But I think it's a positive thing overall. Not every presentation has to be an absolute home run because you need to move on from your current hardware at some point in time. And I'm someone that's been ready to talk about the next generation. Obviously, we've been talking about it, but I'm someone who's ready to experience this next generation. I've had so much fun with my Nintendo Switch, and I definitely love the system. But it's done what it's needed to do. It's time to go on to something a bit more impressive graphically. It's time to go on to something that's a bit more feature rich. It's time to go on to something that is new, that is fresh, that is exciting, that can bring a sense of enjoyment like we had and maybe you had personally with the Switch on day one, and just kind of like that wow moment and taking it to a whole nother level. So I'm excited for this. I am not one of those people that is poo-pooing on a partner showcase. I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see what's at this. I like when third parties put their games on the Switch, and I think there are some titles that could be potentially announced and revealed at this presentation that are going to be banger titles. All because we're moving on to another system doesn't make your current system worthless or pointless or anything like that. There's still going to be companies making games for it. There's still companies that make PS4 and Xbox One versions of games. So why would it be any different with this? Let me know what you think of it in the comments section down below, though. Are you upset that it doesn't seem like it's going to be a full-on Nintendo Direct presentation, just more of a partner showcase? What games would you like to see there, or are you expecting to see there? And of course, when it's eventually announced, I'm guessing Monday, maybe Tuesday, since it is a partner showcase, they usually don't do a huge run-up to that. It's usually a day or two. So maybe it'll be Tuesday. I don't know. But let's see what ends up happening with this. Let's see what ends up coming of it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. As always, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.